My name is Aidan. I grew up in a quiet suburb on the outskirts of a small town called Elmsworth, a place where people left their doors unlocked and everyone greeted each other by name. That peace shattered the day someone new moved into the old, abandoned house on Alder Lane. It was one of those dusky summer evenings when the sky glowed orange and the air buzzed with cicadas. I remember peering through our living room blinds as an old, rusty moving truck rolled to a stop across the street. The house it parked in front of had sat empty for years, its peeling paint and overgrown yard standing out like a wound in our otherwise pristine neighborhood. Everyone had hoped for a friendly family, maybe a couple with kids. Instead, we got him. He was tall, probably mid-40s, with a pale, sickly look and deep-set eyes that rarely blinked. He wore a tattered brown coat even though it was nearly 100 degrees. From the moment he stepped out of the truck, he never looked around, never waved, never smiled, just unloaded box after box like he was running on autopilot. People started whispering. His name, we learned, was Mr. Rennick. He'd supposedly come from a rough part of the city called Ashmere Heights, but no one really knew why he left or what he did. He didn't talk to anyone, didn't come to the block BBQ, he just watched. And it wasn't just random glances, it felt targeted, focused, on us. At first I told myself I was imagining things. Maybe his porch just happened to face our house, maybe he had bad eyesight. But after a few weeks I knew. Every time I went outside, to water the garden, toss the ball, grab the mail, I could feel it. His stare, cold, unblinking. Sometimes he stood behind the curtain, just enough for his silhouette to show. I told my mom. She brushed it off. He's probably just lonely. You should be kind. Go say hi. I really didn't want to. But one Saturday, I mustered the nerve and crossed the street. The moment I stepped onto his lawn, I felt it, like the temperature dropped 10 degrees. The grass was dead and crackled underfoot. Every window was shut, curtains drawn. When he opened the door, the smell hit me first. Old wood, mildew, and something metallic. Blood? Maybe? Yes? His voice was dry, low, and flat. Hey. I live across the street. Just wanted to say hi. I'm Aidan. He stared for a moment before giving me a stiff nod. Mr. Rennick. We stood in awkward silence. I tried small talk. He gave short, emotionless answers. After a minute or two, I excused myself and turned to leave. Nice house you've got, he said suddenly. Very exposed. I didn't sleep well that night. From that day on, everything started getting weirder. He wasn't just showing up on his balcony anymore. I kept seeing him in strange places. One night, I spotted him standing by his mailbox, right at midnight. Another time, he was walking slowly in front of our house, his eyes locked in place, his face completely blank, never changing. But the worst thing happened one Sunday afternoon. I was out in the driveway, shooting hoops, when I noticed someone watching us. I looked up, and it was him, standing at a distance, holding a black camera, taking pictures of our house. My heart started pounding hard. I ran inside, calling out for my parents. By the time my dad got out, he was gone. His front door shut with a heavy thud, like someone had been watching, and escaped at the last second. That night, my parents got into a serious discussion. This isn't normal, my dad said, shaking his head. He gives me a really bad feeling. We decided to bring the police into the picture. 2 nights later, around midnight, I heard it. A faint clicking sound, like the shutter of a camera. I crept to my window and slowly pulled the curtain back. There he was, standing on the sidewalk across from our house, camera in hand, snapping photo after photo. The flash lit up his face for a split second, then he vanished into the dark again. Mom! I ran to their room, calling out. My dad rushed outside, but again, he was gone. And once more, Mr. Rennick's door shut just as my dad stepped out. But this time, we didn't let it go. We called the police and told them everything. The photos, the surveillance, the strange behavior. The next morning, 2 detectives showed up at our door with a search warrant. An hour later, they found something chilling. In one of the rooms in his house, the walls were covered in photos. Photos of our house, taken from different angles, every window, every door, every corner, documented. Some of the pictures were marked with red circles, like someone had been planning something. What was he getting ready to do? My dad asked, his voice tight and dry. But the police didn't have a clear answer. Mr. Rennick was gone, vanished. He left everything behind, the photos, the furniture, even that old chair he used to sit on, out on the balcony. But he also left behind this cold, lingering feeling that never really went away, even days later, even weeks. But the story didn't end there. Weeks passed, and yet the house across the street remained dark, empty. But the feeling didn't leave me, that sense that something was still watching. Every creak in the walls, every flicker of light outside, it kept me on edge. Sometimes I'd glance across the street late at night, and though the windows were still drawn, I could feel eyes behind them. My parents did their best to reassure me. "He's gone," my mom would say. "The police searched the house. He left everything behind. There's no reason to be afraid." But I knew better. People like that don't just vanish. One night, around 2 in the morning, I was lying awake, listening to the wind tapping against the glass. I got up to grab a glass of water from the kitchen. As I passed the living room window, I saw it, just for a split second. A silhouette, at the far end of the street. Tall, still, and staring straight toward our house. I blinked, and it was gone. The next day, I told my parents. My dad tried to hide it, but I saw it, the fear in his eyes. He doubled down on security, bought extra locks, installed cameras. We even got a motion sensor light out front. Still, the tension only grew. A week later, our neighbor across the street, Mrs. Dalton, came over with a worried look on her face. "I saw someone on your lawn last night," she whispered. "Around 3 a.m., tall man, just standing there. I was going to call someone, but he left before I could." That was all my dad needed to hear. He checked the camera footage. Nothing. Just a glitch. At exactly 3:04 a.m., the camera cut out for 4 minutes. When it resumed, the front yard was empty. That same night, I heard a knock. Not at the front door, at my bedroom window. Software, rhythmic. Knock, knock, knock. I froze, my breath caught in my throat. Then, a voice. "Ethan." But it wasn't my name. It was the new one. The name I hadn't told anyone but my family. "Owen." The voice was low, measured, familiar, but wrong. "Open the window. It's your dad." I didn't move. I didn't breathe. That voice outside my window. It sounded like my dad, almost perfectly. But there was something missing in it. Something human. I backed away slowly, keeping my eyes on the window, heart pounding against my ribs like it wanted to escape. The blinds were drawn, but I could see the shadow beyond them. Tall, unmoving. "Owen," the voice said again, softer now, like it was coaxing a child. "You're not safe in there. Let me in." I grabbed my phone and dialed my dad. He picked up on the first ring. "Hey, buddy, you okay?" he asked. "Where are you?" I whispered. "I'm at work. Why?" My legs gave out and I sank to the floor. I didn't answer, just pressed the phone tighter to my ear. "Owen!" "What's going on?" "He's outside my window," I said, barely able to form the words. There was a pause on the line. "Do not move. I'm calling the police right now. Lock your door. Stay on the line." I did as he said, then crawled back into the corner of my room, phone shaking in my hand. Outside, the voice stopped. Silence. But the shadow was still there. Then I heard it, soft footsteps moving along the side of the house. I crawled toward my closet, pushed open the door, and slipped inside, trying to calm my breathing. Suddenly, tap, tap, tap. Now it was at the back window, my second-floor window. That's when I realized, whoever it was, they weren't standing on the ground. They were hovering. My breath caught in my throat. I stayed frozen in that closet for what felt like hours. Eventually, I heard the distant sound of sirens. The tapping stopped, but I didn't come out. Not until the flashing red and blue lights filled the street. When the officers came in and searched the house, they found nothing. No fingerprints, no footprints, not even a smudge on the glass. But the camera, this time it caught something, a blurry figure, just for a second. Standing at my window, facing in. And even though the image was grainy, the eyes were clear, wide, unblinking, like he'd been watching me for a long, long time. That night, I didn't sleep. Neither did my parents. The image from the security camera, blurry as it was, shook everyone. Not because of the face, but because it wasn't a face we recognized. It wasn't Mr. Colburn. It wasn't anyone from the neighborhood. It was something else entirely. Police increased patrols around our street. For a few weeks, nothing happened. No shadows, no voices. But the fear never left. Every sound felt amplified. Every night, longer than the one before. Until one morning, about 3 weeks later, a letter arrived. No stamp, just left at our front door. It had no return address, but my name was handwritten on the front in shaky, uneven letters. Inside was a single Polaroid photo. Our house, taken from inside, from the second floor, the attic. The attic door had always been sealed shut with thick paint and rusted hinges. We thought it hadn't been opened in years. But when the police forced it open, we found more than just dust and forgotten boxes. There was an old mattress, a cracked mirror, empty food wrappers, and photos, dozens of them. All of me, sleeping, playing, eating, living. A ladder against the far wall led to a hatch that opened onto the roof. Whoever had been watching us, they'd been living above us the entire time. The police never found him. They said it looked like he'd been squatting there for at least a year, maybe more. Coming and going without anyone noticing. We moved a few weeks later. New town, new house, new locks. But I still don't sleep well. Because some nights, especially when the wind howls just right, I hear that same voice whispering in my dreams. Owen, let me in. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to leave a like. Drop a comment telling me what you would have done if you were in my place, and subscribe to the channel with the bell turned on. Because this is just the beginning. There are many more terrifying stories still to come. Stay close, and whatever you do, don't turn off the lights.